Kentucky that doesn't exist. Unlike after the 2016 election, no one in 2020 flocked to eastern Kentucky seeking insight or votes. Only parts of central Appalachia and key battleground states received any attention at all from the presidential candidates. Moon Township, Pennsylvania, became a regular campaign stop. For all the attention it was paid, Appalachian Kentucky might as well have been a region on the moon. The future of central Appalachian coal jobs, a major theme of the 16 campaign, hardly got mentioned, mainly because Trump failed to deliver on his promise to revive the coal industry. So instead he tried to use Democratic opposition to fracking as a new Republican rallying point. Yet there remains an undeniable symbolism to eastern Kentucky, and it is one that both captures and transcends the troubled political climate of the day. But to grasp it, we need to get better at viewing the region in the framework of a larger American story about income inequality, generational poverty, and the lack of upward mobility. Only then will we start the demystification process. When I think about the things I saw and documented in Appalachian Kentucky, I realize that this small swath of America with a population of around 700,000 offers tremendous insight into who we are and what we value as a nation. You cannot tell the story of a place as complex and contradictory as eastern Kentucky in 800 or 1,200-word chunks, written in inverted pyramid style, as I was once tasked with doing. That was a whiplash-inducing and at times overwhelming assignment. Coal mining could have been its own beat. The same applies to prescription drugs, poverty, religion, and culture. This book is my attempt to pull all of the strands together, to journey beyond the hundreds of newspaper bylines I accumulated, to capture the essence of a place that I observed for years and continue to revisit and reevaluate. The major events I chronicled for the Courier-Journal framed the narrative, but it is the material that didn't make it into the paper that I believe makes this more than just another crack at explaining Appalachia. The book examines the economic and social experiment that created the power structure of modern-day eastern Kentucky, a proxy for struggling regions everywhere, and traces how the dramatic events of the early years of the century impacted the region and influenced the soul of the nation as a whole. It also highlights the essential role of the journalist in writing the first rough drafts of history, especially now that newspapers have left eastern Kentucky and places like it, leaving no one to tell some very essential stories. The result is a story about drug epidemics, political violence, environmental degradation, and morality debates, but also about a seemingly laid-back rural culture where a large segment of the population is clinically depressed, about an area of natural beauty where the land has been stripped and the forests torched for amusement, and about a defining push and pull between fierce pride and a nagging sense of inferiority. Ultimately, it is a story about how America and its institutions have failed eastern Kentucky, but for better and for worse, how the people of the region have remained loyal to their idea of Americanism. Introduction. Do us right. In the fall of 2000, I had a decision to make. Stay in Europe, where I had been working and living since graduating from college 5 years earlier, or put an end to my overseas adventure and move back to the United States to continue my burgeoning journalism career. I had a job as the news assistant in the New York Times Berlin bureau where, between making coffee runs and trips to the post office for the bureau chief, I had managed to carve out a niche for myself as a reporter, mostly covering the European sports scene. Eventually, I moved on to weightier subject matter, including a story about the shattered lives of female swimmers in East Germany, who were force-fed a daily regimen of steroids as young girls and sent out to compete in championship meets. The sources I developed, while writing a number of smaller pieces on the subject, helped me build rapport with these former athletes. I was proud of the story, I felt it mattered, and I wanted to do more like it. But after half a decade in Europe, I felt on the brink of becoming an expat, that breed of individual who achieves an advanced level of comfort abroad and starts to question the virtues of returning home. The year 2000 seemed as favorable a time as any to start a new chapter. Earlier that year, I declined admission to an international studies program at Georgetown. The thought of sitting in a classroom for 2 years didn't appeal to me. Relocating to my native Philadelphia or another East Coast city also didn't grab me. The editors I worked with at the Times felt I could use more seasoning, and a job at a different big city newspaper would have likely meant a few years of dues paying on the suburban desk, covering zoning and school board meetings.